Hello everyone, I'm back in my Death Star Derby toy box with Luke Skywalker, and today I'm going to work on the exterior part of the race course, beginning with the famous Death Star trench. This was such an iconic feature of this station that I knew I had to include it in my course, and this also gave me a chance to use these Death Star exterior building pieces from building sets group 5 that I seldom get to use, so that was kind of fun. But we're going to begin with this large Death Star block. We're going to put it up against the terrain blocks we put down last time and underneath the road like that. Alright, and then we're going to put another block in and we're going to line it up like you see here. And we're going to do the same thing on both sides. And that helps ensure that there is no gap between those blocks as you're driving through. And so what we're going to do is we're going to run a row of these all the way down, these 3 rows of blocks. So I've already placed one. We're going to go ahead and place 20 more of these for a total of 21. And as you bring these over, be sure you kind of rotate them so that they're not so repetitive. I'm going to go ahead and do this offline, and I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, I'm back, and here's what the trench looks like so far. So there's, again, a total of 21 of these blocks in this row, in this row, and in this row. And you'll notice where this last one ends, right by the ramp here. So this ramp piece right here ends on the right edge of the block underneath it. Okay, and you'll also notice that I've rotated every block. So if you look at the textures on the top, it's not cookie cutter. And not that you'll see the top, but as you're driving down the middle, the textures on the inside are the same way. And so you'll notice they're not as repetitive here either. And that's really important. Alright, and that brings us up to the end of the trench. And now I'm going to start working on the ramp that leads up out of the trench onto the surface of the Death Star. And let me pull up my screen grabs here. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to scroll to the right past that block, and we're looking for this Death Star floor detail. And we're going to bring this over. We're going to line this up right here, like that. So this thing is 2 blocks wide, 2 of those squares wide, and each of these large squares here are 6 blocks wide. So we're going to put this right in the middle, right down here like that. Okay? And then we're going to raise it up, and oops, not like that. Bring this back like that. And we're just going to follow the contour of the ramp all the way up till we get to that point. Okay? And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. This helps hide the gap underneath the track, and keeps the player from going off the side of the road and underneath the road here. Because if we didn't put this in here and the car drove through here, they'd just fall off the world, and that would kind of break the immersion. But there we go. So that gets us our ramp. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total all the way up. Alright, and now let's go ahead and grab this piece on the end. We're going to bring this down, and again I'm going to rotate it. And we're going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So like that. We're going to do the same thing on this side. Again, I want to kind of make sure that that doesn't repeat, and if I put it down this way it would. So we'll rotate that. like that and like that. And what we've done here is just kind of make it look like as you're coming up out of the surface, out onto the surface, it kind of looks like from your peripheral vision that the Death Star continues off for a long ways in the other, in the other direction, but the player is never going to see the cutoff of the world there, so that's okay. All right, and then up here we'll go ahead and pick this piece up one more time, put it down, and we're going to put a row of 4 of these like this to plug that gap. There. So now that's the ramp that leads to the surface of the Death Star. So now we'll come back and pick this piece up again and put it down. And that gets us to the next section of the track here. Alright, so with this, we're going to come about center here like that. Raise it up 1 notch like you see here. I'm kind of spinning this around a little bit so you can get a good look at it. Okay. And then we're going to go 3 in either direction. Like that. All right, and this is going to be the surface level of the Death Star. Now, for the surface of the Death Star, we do not need to build a huge surface, and I don't have the memory for that anyway. It just needs to look like it stretches off into the distance. And so if you're up here on the road, this doesn't have to go a long way out in this direction. It just has to go this way, and the player will get the idea as they're down at road level that that goes off further than it does. And to kind of help with that illusion a little bit, if you watch the movie, there's raised sections. It's not all flat, so there's raised sections of the Death Star surface. And so that's what I'm going to do here. So on this next row, we're going to raise up this section 2 nudges. So 1, 2, like that. And then we'll go over 1 more and drop it down a little bit because we don't want to make it too regular. And that's also going to help hide the fact that that doesn't go off a long ways in that direction. Just enough to give the player the idea that it does. And then we'll take this all the way over. And just to kind of show you, the player's not really going to have a chance to look at this as they're driving. But just as we're standing here, if you happen to look over that way, it just kind of looks like the Death Star might go further in that direction. And even if you're looking at this flat area, the cutoff out there when you're at ground level doesn't really look bad. It kind of gives the illusion like that might go further than it actually does. And that's even just standing here looking at it. As you're driving down this thing along and you're driving a very fast pace, just catching a very quick glimpse of that is enough to give you the idea that it goes a long ways off in that direction. So this one we're going to go ahead and put in another row of these and another one after that. Okay. But on the next row we're going to do something a little bit different because again we don't want this to be too repetitive. So on this one, we're actually going to raise this up just a little bit. And we'll put this one down. So now we've got kind of a raised area there. And this lets us add some detail to the Death Star without adding any extra memory. Just raising those blocks up here and there as you're driving along. You have to have a block here anyway. There's nothing to say it has to be at the same level as everything around it, because the Death Star surface, once again, is not flat. And so there, now we have some much needed visual interest as we're coming up. And I think that just looks really good. All right. And because I'm staggering the heights of these things, I don't want to just do all of this offline, because I think that would throw you off a little bit. So we're going to go ahead and just lay this out in the video here. So this one we're going to raise up a little. I'm going to go ahead and just kind of put the perimeter of this in. This one we're going to lower. And this is as far out from the racetrack as we really need to go. I don't think we need to go any further. And that one probably could sit there. The player's never going to drive out this far to see that that's not rotated, but I'm going to do it anyway. Okay, and then we're going to raise this one up like that. And we'll do 2 across. We'll do 1 down like this. Another one up. And again, we're just kind of staggering this and making it look a little more interesting. And now, because this is raised up from the ground level that everyone else is at over there on the road, we don't need to put 2 blocks back here, so we can save a little bit of memory. And now all the rest of these are going to be down at this level. And so I'm going to go ahead and just fill this in. Again, rotating so that it's not too repetitive here. You don't want it to look like it's the same block copied and pasted. By rotating it, it gives the illusion that the whole surface is different. It gets a little bit tedious. Obviously, it's a lot faster if you can cookie cutter it and put it in, but I don't think it looks as good personally. Okay, so now we're over here to that point. Okay, let's continue from this edge, and we're going to work our way around the perimeter. So we're going to put that one up there like that, and then this one, and we're going to go around the corner, keeping this down. We're going to come out like this far. Alright, so now this one we have a little bit of a problem, because now we have this ramp that's sitting in here. And so what we're going to do now is shift this a little bit. I don't think this is a problem, because the player is never going to know. And actually, we're going to raise these up. I was looking at my screen grab a little bit wrong. So this one's going to go up 2. And the next one's going to go up just 1 level. All right, so like that. So there's kind of a little bit of a canyon, I guess you could call it, over that direction. All right, and then we'll bring this one over. The next one's going to go up 1 level. And we'll stop at that point. This one, it's going to sit right here like this. And then like that, and that gets us to the bottom of the ramp. And then the next one is going to sit back here like this. So it's going to kind of open up a little bit when it gets to the bottom there. We're going to go back 2 deep, like that. This one's going to sit up just a little bit. Oops. All right, and then we're going to come back this way, back this way, back this way. Okay, and that will be the back edge of our area. So continuing along this wall, we're going to do one, again 2 deep. The next one's going to go up 2 notches. This one's going to stay down at this level, and we'll stop at that point. Okay, so that's the lower area as you go into the tunnel leading back into the interior. Let's come back up over here. I want to continue building this. And we'll start with this back wall that's over here. And I need to find my screen grab here, because this, of course I'm not seeing it now. Hold on just a minute. Okay, this is actually going to sit up at this level. And we're going to do 1 row of these along here, like this. And that's going to be the wall, so it hides all the ugliness out that direction. And that's why this is up as high as it is. Okay. And I'm just trying to find... It might be easier just to come over here. Sorry about that. I hate having you just sitting there watching me struggle as I try to figure out how to put that together. Alright, so this one we're going to come over here to the road, and we're going to go over 1 block. So about like that. And this one's going to sit up like that. So that's what we have in that corner. All right. And then the next block is going to sit adjacent to this, underneath the road, like that. Okay. And this next one will sit up here, like so. We're going to go back like that. Next one over is going to sit up another level, and then this one is going to sit right in here like this. And that leaves a gap there, but I don't think that's going to be a problem. Alright, so now we'll just fill in the rest of the floor in this area. There we go, and that gets us up to the trench. Once again, I can't go any further that way. But fortunately on this side it all lines up. And then to help hide that gap, we'll just put 2 blocks down like that. Alright, so there's the major structure for the exterior of the station. So now as we come out of that trench and we come through here, we're winding around towers and different things. And again, from ground level, it looks like it kind of stretches off in a long ways in different directions. Okay, and we got to put the floor underneath here. So let's do that before I forget. So now this is going to sit under here like that. Once again, we're going to rotate these pieces just so what we see of the ground level is not repetitive. There we are. Now I think we're done with those large blocks, for the most part. And how are we doing on time? We're not doing too bad. We'll go ahead and put in a few little details here. Alright, so let's begin back over here. So as we come up, we have a few raised areas, which is kind of nice. But we need a little bit extra detail, I think. And fortunately, as we're looking at this, and we're in this drawer, there's some things that we can put in that don't take up too much memory. We have this large tower, which adds some visual interest. So we're going to put one of these on either side of the road here. And we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th row back. So starting over here from the building, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we're going to put one on that point, one on the other side of the road, exactly opposite. And this tower just kind of helps the player not cut this corner here quite so easily. So that's good. And then over on this side, we're going to put another tower right off over here, like that. And again, this is where that's located with respect to that raised area. All right. There's some additional raised towers here. We're going to put one out over this way on the corner of this little raised area. So like that. And you'll notice it is different on each side, so you can kind of make it look a little bit different by rotating it slightly. And then some others over here at the trench. I knew I had two more of these somewhere. So we're going to put one here. We're going to put one here. Alright, and that's all we'll do with that tower. Now we have to give kind of a reason for this road to be going the way it is. And so we're going to put down some Death Star towers here. And this kind of gives a reason for the road to have to go the way it does because it's going around that tower. And I'm going to put this, let's see, you can rotate this any way you want, but I think I'm going to put mine like that. Because I just like the look of that as you approach from this direction. But again, the orientation of that doesn't really matter. And I'm going to do another one out over here. And again, I apologize for the delays. I'm just grabbing my screenshots to make sure I put these in the same place that I had them. So we're 4 blocks from the edge of that raised area on the left. And for this one, we'll put it up like that. Again, that helps add to the illusion that the Death Star goes off in that direction, because that kind of hides the edge of that, the edge of the world over there. All right, and then another one out over this way. So as you're coming down this little trench, I want to sit one right out over here. And for this one, we're going to sit it 3 blocks from the raised area on the right, and put this one right there like that. And I think I'm going to rotate it so it's like that. And this is directly ahead of you as you come down this, but a little bit off to the side. So you don't want to make it look too regular. Alright, so I like that. And then we have these pipes. So we're going to add some of these in. And we're going to put this one, let's see, how do we want to do this? About like that, actually. And I don't have room for a big one on this side, so we can put a smaller one here. And I think, put this one back about like that. And then I'll use the pipes through this little section here. And so as we get up to the top of the ramp here, we're going to place the first ones. I can't find my screenshot. There we are. Okay. So I'm looking at these two little thin pieces of track that are down there that are 1 block wide. And this is how I'm positioning this pipe. We're going to put one directly across on the other side like that. And rotating them doesn't really matter because it doesn't really look too much different on either side. Okay, the next one we're going to sit back here about like this. And for this one, let's go ahead and rotate that just so it's a little bit different. And then the next one we'll put over here about like so. Yeah, but I'm going to go 2 back like that. Give the player a little bit of room in here if they overshoot that curve. And then we'll put a small tower off over here like that. And I'm going to rotate this one so that little down pipe is a little bit more visible. That little pipe on the side of it. So this kind of gives you an area that you're driving around. And we'll put another one of these over here. And this is really just to discourage the player from driving straight through or trying to go around the pipe on the right. So that's really my goal there. Put that like that. And then the next one will sit up here like this. Yeah, like that. Okay. Oops. Alrighty. So I like that. So as you're coming through here, you come around these things, come around this way, and you're skirting the edge of this. So I don't really need to put anything up here that they need to avoid because they're going to be navigating around these pipes. And if they do try to drive around this way, it's going to be about the same amount of distance. So that works pretty good, and that adds a lot of visual interest. Makes the surface look pretty good. I've got some more details that I'm going to put up here, but we're running out of time. So I think that's as far as we're going to go today. Next time, I'll finish this exterior area, and that'll wrap up the build exercise for this toy box. But that's all for me today. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel before you go, if you haven't done that already. All you have to do is click my photo in the lower right corner of this video. Have a great day!